People ask us all the time, will you tell us more about those walking sticks we see you using in your Bonaire shore dive site videos? Well, that's what we're talking about in this video, and we're doing it right now. Hey folks, Kevin here with a quick video on walking sticks, although I think officially they're known as trekking poles. If you've seen any of our Bonaire dive site videos, you no doubt have seen Liz using these. They help her get to the water and then into and out of the water for our shore dives. But we always get questions on why is she using that and where did she get it, what kind is it, and most importantly, what do you do with it during the dive? We actually answer all these questions in another video of ours called 10 Things to Make Bonaire Shore Diving Made Easier. I'll link that right up here for you, but we did want to do a video specifically about the walking sticks since we get questions often. That way you've got it readily available that you can share with your dive buddies and reference it when you need to. They're a great tool to use, and so if you like this video and you find it helpful, be sure and give it a thumbs up. And how about taking a giant stride onto our subscribe button and hit those notification bells so you'll be made aware when we have new content for you to enjoy. But right now it's all about the walking stick, and this is it. It's a trekking pole. And so why do we use these? If you've been shore diving in Bonaire, or maybe this is going to be your first trip, you'll know that the terrain is very rugged. You've got coral rubble that can shift under your feet, that you can slip and fall. When you get to the water, often there's a step down into the water and there are unseen holes in the surf. There may be ridges that can offset your balance when you've got all your gear on. And let's face it, no one likes to fall in front of the dive buddies because you know we're going to laugh at you, even though we're going to help you get back up. But these can be very helpful in helping you steady yourself as you get into the water, as you get to the water, and then after the dive when you're getting out of the water. These will help you take your fall number down to close to 0 on Bonaire. Liz and I both use these. We've used these for years, and they are incredibly helpful. So that's why we use them, but let's talk about how not to use them. Once again, you're going to use these only to get to the water, then into the water, then out of the water after your dive. Once you're to where you can float or you can put your fins on, you need to stow this so it's not in your hands during the dive. You don't want to carry this during the dive, right? So we're going to show you how to do that in a little bit. But most importantly, this is not to be used to steady yourself during the dive on the reef to take a picture. This is not for pointing out marine life to your dive buddy. It's not for bopping lionfish on top of the head. This is only to be used to help you get to, then into the water. Once you can put your fins on, you're going to put this away, out of your reach. Only your dive buddy can access it. And then once your dive is finished, you can use this to help you get out of the water. I'll get off that soapbox, but I just want to be very clear that we only use these to help us steady ourselves getting to, into, and out of the water. So that's how we use them and why we use them. This is it. This is a brand called Retrospec. The brand of the trekking pole doesn't matter. I just happened to buy these one time. They were a good price. They've worked out very well. This is our second set of Retrospec poles, so we recommend them. But once again, the brand does not matter. But make sure you get the collapsing or telescoping trekking poles. Usually come in 2 collapsible sections. But there are two things that I look for in a pair of trekking poles. One for me, one for my dive buddy. The first one is price. I think these are around 20 bucks. I'm going to put a link to these in the description below and in the comments. So if you like these, you can get them. Also look at the different colors. For some reason, this color was $9 less than the silver or the black one. So check the different colors when you look at that. So why should you get a cheap one? Well, because salt water tears these things up. They're not made to go in the water, and after several uses in salt water, the salt water gets inside where there are springs and things, and they rot away. They rust out. So I've tried to keep these and use them year after year, and they just do not hold up. So purchase these knowing that they're not going to hold up. Doesn't matter what the brand is. They're all cheap, but the salt water will tear them up. So what I recommend is if you're just in Bonaire for a week or two, when you're done with your last dive, give them to your dive shop. They can offer them to another diver. Or if there's an empty truck and there are no divers there, maybe they're still out in the water, or if you see other divers after your last dive, offer them to them. Be a good dive buddy. Be a good dive friend. Maybe they want to use them. What I do ask is don't throw them away on Bonaire. If you're not going to use them anymore, you don't want to offer them to another diver, bring them home and throw them away at home. There's not a lot of landfill space on Bonaire, so we don't want to trash the place up. So if you plan on throwing them away and not giving them to another diver, please bring them home with you. But that's the first thing we look for, is buy a cheap pair, because saltwater is going to tear them up. Once again, I'll give you an Amazon link for this one, as well as another brand you may want to try out. And you can also find them at Walmart, places like that. The second thing I'll look for is the locking mechanism for the different sections. Most of these work where you twist to tighten them, and that works very well. But we've used several of these that twist to tighten over the years, and after a day or two of use, they stop and they loosen up and they lose their tightening mechanism, and then they collapse on you when you're trying to use them. And that's no good, right? If you go to steady yourself and you can't, and it collapses, you may fall down. What we found with this particular type is there's a locking clip that holds it in place. And I find that to be much better useful in water, at least, with these different sections on the collapsing part. And what's nice is if it does start to loosen up, you have a dial that can increase the tension on your locking mechanism. So once again, I highly recommend you look for a cheap pair, but a pair that has this clip type mechanism to lock it. Once again, I'll link a few down in the description that do that. This brand and this pair does. So buy a cheap pair and buy a pair that locks with this clipping mechanism. And as far as the stick, that's it. This is what we recommend for the walking stick. But once again, you need to attach these to your tank during the dive. So let's show you right now how we're going to do that. Okay, you've made it to the water. You've used your walking stick to help you get into the water and into the water. You're about where you can float, you're putting your fins on, and now you've got to do something with this walking stick, right? So what are you going to do? Well, what we do is we attach it to our tanks with latex tubing. And let's show you how we do that. This is simple latex tubing, or surgical tubing, some folks call it. You can get it at your local home improvement store in your plumbing section. It usually comes in a 10-foot section. I'm going to put an Amazon link below that you can just order it from Amazon if you like. If you're already on Bonaire, Kuiman has this in a big roll. You just pull out how much you need and pay for it by length. We forgot ours one year, and so the rings we actually use today, we bought on Bonaire with some latex tubing we made there. I am going to recommend you wait till you get to Bonaire to actually make the rings for the tank, and we'll show you how you do that, just in case for some odd reason you've got a different size tank than normal. This is a big old steel 120. This is not the size tank I would use in Bonaire, so the ones I'm about to make for you now, I'm not going to take and use in Bonaire. But super simple. Get your length of latex tubing and wrap it around the tank, and just make a tie, and make sure you've got a little bit of length on the end on each side. Take your BC knife and cut you some slack on the other end. And we're going to make 2 rings, and then just take it, tie it tight, because this expands, and then just put you a couple of standard knots in it. There's 1, there's 2, and that'll hold for years. Then just get rid of the slop. And you've got 1 ring. Now we need 2 rings, right? You're going to put these on before each dive and before you put the BC on the tank. So more than likely the first few times you do this, you're going to put the BC on first. Once you do it once or twice, you won't forget again. So then you make a 2nd ring. And now you've got your 2 rings. You get in the water, you're getting ready to put your fins on, or after you put them on, you turn around backwards, your tank's right there for your buddy, you hand them your walking stick, and it goes right there for your dive. Super simple, right? After the dive, your dive buddy comes along. When you're finished, you're back in the shallows, takes it back out, you go it again to use it to get out of the water. So, super easy. Then you've got your 2 rings that you take off, swap out your gear for your next dive. You still have 2 more rings to use, putting them back on. and you're good to go. It's as simple as that. I'll tell you folks, this is the one tip for Bonaire shore diving that will change your life. Use these walking sticks, stow them during the dive. Go to Bonaire, have a great dive. Not sure what else I can tell you about that except go to Bonaire, dive. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget the video a thumbs up. For now though, we're gonna put all this stuff away, then we're gonna gear up, get in, and one day we'll see you at the next dive site.